New season means 50 things right and wrong with it. Yay! Very excited to be posting about this, and I'm not gonna spend much time here, so let's just get on with the video. But I should warn you though, there are spoilers here, and if you haven't watched it yet, get out. Leave right now. It's the end of You and Me. Don't say it will be too late, because I can't wait for you guys to be gone if you haven't watched the season, obviously. None of us saw what those screenshots were about. Now I'm so glad those were definitely not spoilers, because the way I was reading into it, my girl here would have been an early boot. The Sean reference here was the best of all the cameos this season. Not that there were many, and I'm glad they toned them down, but the implications behind this one are so good. Humor is as edgy as it was back in 2007, and honestly, I cannot stress how good that feels. Bowie. It's awesome to see a show like Total Drama, that isn't entirely aimed at an adult audience, be not afraid of showing no prejudices. Bowie is definitely a great character, and boy did he deserve that crown of his. I enjoy the fact that auditions were actually inside the episodes. Such a shame that didn't give them to every single character, but it was definitely a smart move. Also, the fact that David Dobrik was a character in this is nothing short of hilarious. And wow, he is just as despicable. Mario Kart. I absolutely loved Mortal Kombat. Mysteries at Kruger's is my spirit animal, and wow, I will talk about her sometime later. Dwayne and Raj are special. The way they were team leaders, the Canadian references, the support they gave each other no matter what, it's just all so lovely around these two, and I'm so glad it had not only nothing to do with Katie and Sadie, but they were actually a funnier and Canadian version of Beavis and Butthead. Never thought that these two would mash up together well, but they did. Julia. Challenges were so creative for the most part, and they were fun to watch. And I also appreciate that they were more grounded and more inspired in camp activities, a point usually previous seasons have completely missed the mark on. Did any of you actually box at camp? The scene where the shark ate Z's leg was ridiculously dramatic. Scarring. Never before did Total Drama try to pull this one on us. A million thoughts ran through my mind when I saw this for the first time, and this is yet another proof how good this season was. Scary Girl was stupidly hyped, while at the same time she was giving a weird early boot energy that you could catch up if you were paying attention. I called it very early on, so this is a thing right. Woo! Also, Katie Griffin made an awesome job voicing her, as usual. Somehow, in a way I'm completely oblivious to, the use of words like cringe and OMG just work. Even though the comedy was still being the same old weird disgusting Total Drama humor, this season there was a lot more variety on that department, and I cannot tell you how much I ended up laughing in some instances here, mostly because of Z. I had long forgotten how freaking awesome it was to root very strongly for a character, hoping he or she would win an individual challenge. Every single time my queen won a challenge, I was screaming and clapping like an idiot. This show has some pretty cool 2.5D graphics now, and they look pretty smooth. Julia dragging this dinosaur for filth was iconic, and their confessional doing her nails and saying, not today. She's got a point, she's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now. And the second version was even more so. The way she just said, you need a picture. Julia, you have all my heart. They made me adore a character that is based on everything I hate in today's society. TikTok and influencers annoy me so much. And yet, Julia, I adore her. This screams volumes on how good characters are in this season. Most of them. Damien's elimination was very Total Drama of the old days, because the whole purpose of Reaper was to make him do the world record fart. And he did actually. The elimination of Damien was actually an addressing to a problem I had with the Redonkulous race. In this instance here, we see one where the actions come back to bite someone in the ass against the guy that used its ass for what he wanted. Both these characters were great for elimination, and it would have been a fair elimination either way. It's the way Z won this challenge for his team. It was so precious. The writing of these characters was very original, MK's strategy of listening to the confessionals for her advantage was something none of us could think of, and I really am surprised that they came up with this premise. Also, her elimination was oddly satisfactory. It was a true nail-biter, again emphasizing how they managed to pick well the two characters that should be in the bottom two. Much like Paquiteo, there was no clear season villains yet again, even if they admitted it. However, this was done right this season, because none of the people in this that were villains were actually evil. Their villainy came from actually playing the game and using strategy. Hence why not having a clear villain worked. The fact that they used the sound effect as the background when Julia accused MK of seeing everyone pooping.
She's seen all of you pooping!
That is used in music that makes you poop. Watch. You heard that? You heard that background noise? This just speaks volumes on how the team behind this season was on their They crossed the line with this one. Writing of these episodes was well thought out. The scene where they had to eat that tapeworm made it seem that Julia and Ripper were gonna kiss, and I'm very glad that it did not go as I thought, because that would have been such a cliche. But the way the thing unfolded was done in such a quick and simple and yet totally disgusting fashion. I haven't felt this about a total drama episode in a while. I was so surprised when out of the blue she just stood up and claimed immunity. Have I told you I'm Team Julia? Dialogue stilted and forced ending. They're acknowledging Total Drama All-Stars. It's canon. Z is just precious, bro. Bowie's shade game is spotless. Unless you count that time Lashana beat up Duncan in episode 21 of Total Drama Island, which I usually don't because that was more of the sister beating up the so-called tough guy. The fight between Bowie and Julia was the first guy versus girl physical fight in the history of this show, adding into the layer of how unhinged this season is. I know I already said it, but Z is the cutest and funniest guy I've seen in a while in this show. He was hilarious and he literally deserves a spin-off. There, I said it. In many cases, you can see that plots that fell flat on their bellies in previous seasons were reused in this season, and they made them work. Case in point, Z wanting Chris out. It was done so much better than with Topher. The last four contestants standing on the poll challenge loved pizza with pineapple. And this is me coming out as a pineapple in the pizza supporter. Hello. And now that I have your attention on this topic, let's talk. Look, I understand that you might not like pineapple in the pizza, but the people that don't, is it because your pizza is missing prosciutto? Because prosciutto with pineapple, even if it's outside the pizza, is great. If it doesn't have like some sort of cold cut, then pineapple on the pizza is gross. Think about it, pineapple in the pizza haters. I understand your side, but there is room to dialogue here on this channel. So feel free to debate. Chef was someone in this season. I am so glad he's relevant again. There was no all-girl finale, but I'm glad someone acknowledged this at some point. Since Lindsay wasn't in this season, and even though Julia's action was hilarious, I do believe that, hashtag Justicefortheraptor, poor thing. The voice acting remains as one of the best things ever. The animation and the work with the voices is amazing. The nerds having the power. The names they gave these episodes were so punny, and they were actually funny. Not like the ones from previous seasons, like legitimately good punny names. Even though he was still a bit psychotic, Chris was more toned down this season, and there were actually no intentions of passing him as a main character. I am very glad that they balanced him out. And let's take a moment to appreciate how good of a job Terry McGurran did voicing Chris. I mean, those were some tough shoes to fill, and I do think Dawn is more of his character, but Terry did such a great job. Good on you, Terry. This show is actually written as a game, and characters focus on that. Characters were indeed impactful. Things that happened in previous episodes transition along to the next episode. This is actually something that didn't usually happen in previous seasons for some reason. And an example of this is Julia's chocolate bar. At first, it seemed innocuous, but one episode later, it was enough to drive a wedge between Emma and Chase. Which, again, is the focus on what this show needs to have. Drama! I'm actually Confucian. They do say that this camp is in a lake in Muskoka, Canada, but they never actually tell us that this is indeed Camp Wawanakwa. So by that logic, this isn't the camp we all know and love. But if this reboot takes place in a universe where total drama has existed over the past 15 years, and a dedicated fan of the show becomes a contestant in it, and Owen actually exists in this universe, Does this mean that this is indeed the same universe as Total Drama Island of 2007? Is this the same universe where Camp Wawanak was sank into the lake? It's just so weird. They left out the name of the camp seemingly on purpose, but then they leave this pragmatism in the air. And that will make us people in the fandom start debating, and we love you for it. I don't think people actually grasped how pragmatic these characters are actually. Let's talk about it. Total Drama has been a show that is broadcasted everywhere in the world. Lots of these countries do not support LGBTQ views. With Bowie being a character that is here to the very end, then it's gonna be hilarious seeing these countries trying to censor this show. They are either gonna block huge, and I mean huge chunks of the episodes to fit their standards, or they are not gonna broadcast the season at all. And the most important thing, I'm just so happy to have Total Drama in my life again. And part of me is wondering, this season takes place 15 years after the first Total Drama Island. You know what fan show actually took place 15 years after Total Drama Island? I'm wondering if this was on purpose. Whether it was or it wasn't, the quality of writing this season was great. I'm happy that we have Total Drama back in our lives. And I do believe our voices were heard on what we, the fans, wanted.